Join me as I dive into the spine-chilling world of Appalachian creepypasta and try to scare myself silly with these terrifying horror stories. Creepypastas have become an integral part of modern horror storytelling, captivating audiences with their unique blend of folklore, urban legends, and psychological terror. But among all the regions with rich and twisted tales, the Appalachian area stands out as a hotbed of terrifying stories that'll freeze your blood. Maybe it's the rugged beauty of the mountains, the isolation of the rural communities, or the dark history of the region, but whatever the reason, Appalachian creepypastas have become some of the most feared and revered tales of our time. Deep in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, there's a place where the trees grow twisted, the rivers run dark, and the people whisper stories of an ancient evil that lurks in the shadows. It's a place where the living are not welcome, where the dead roam free, and where the very fabric of reality seems to unravel. It's here that our story begins, with the mysterious disappearance of a group of friends who ventured into the woods, seeking adventure and thrills. But as they delved deeper into the wilderness, they stumbled upon something that would change them forever, a presence that watched, waited, and ultimately consumed them. The group of friends, all seasoned hikers and outdoor enthusiasts, had heard the whispers of a strange figure that roamed the woods, a figure that seemed to be watching them, waiting for them to make a wrong move. At first, they dismissed it as mere superstition, but as the days passed and the occurrences grew more frequent, they realized that something was amiss. It started with strange noises in the night, disembodied voices that seemed to come from all directions, and an unshakable feeling of being watched. But it wasn't until they stumbled upon an ancient, crumbling cabin deep in the woods that they realized they were not alone. The cabin, with its twisted roots and crooked doorways, seemed to exude an aura of malevolence, a feeling that something was waiting for them inside. And as they cautiously explored the cabin, they discovered a series of cryptic symbols etched into the walls, symbols that seemed to point to an ancient ritual of summoning and sacrifice. It was then that they knew they had to get out, to flee the woods and never look back. But it was too late, for they had already awakened the entity, a being of unspeakable horror that would haunt them until the end of their days. The Appalachian region is steeped in history and lore, with stories of ancient Native American tribes, of pioneer settlers, and of coal miners who delved deep into the earth, uncovering secrets that were better left buried. It's a region where the fabric of reality seems to be thin, where the veil between the worlds is at its most fragile. And it's here that the legends of the boogeyman, the spearfinger, and the Uktena come alive, where the very woods seem to whisper tales of horror and dread. The history of the region is a complex tapestry of myth and reality, of fact and fiction, where the lines are constantly blurred. It's a place where the living and the dead coexist, where the past and the present collide, and where the very concept of time seems to be distorted. And it's here, in this eerie landscape, that our story unfolds, a tale of horror and terror that will leave you breathless and shattered. As the group of friends tried to flee the cabin, they realized that they were not going to make it out alive. The entity, awakened by their curiosity, was closing in, its presence suffocating, crushing. And in that moment, they knew that they were doomed, that they would never escape the clutches of the horror that lurked in the shadows. It was a moment of primal terror, a moment that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. The climax of the story is a heart-stopping, nail-biting affair, a moment of sheer terror that will leave you gasping for breath. It's a moment that's both intense and overwhelming, a moment that will haunt your dreams for weeks to come. And as you're left reeling from the aftermath, you can't help but wonder, what happened to the group of friends? Did they escape, or did they fall prey to the horror that lurked in the woods? In the end, it's a story that will leave you feeling unsettled, uneasy, and scared. It's a story that'll make you question the nature of reality, the power of superstition, and the horrors that lurk in the shadows. And as you're left to ponder the fate of the group, you can't help but wonder, what's lurking in the woods, waiting for you? Thanks for joining me on this spine-chilling journey into the world of Appalachian creepypasta. If you've got a favorite creepy tale or a story that'll give me nightmares, be sure to share it in the comments below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more terrifying horror stories and creepy content. Join me as I dive into the chilling world of Appalachia and try to share the creepiest true horror story I can find without getting too spooked myself. Appalachia has this rich tradition of creepy tales that'll send chills down your spine. There's something about the eerie atmosphere of the region that makes it the perfect breeding ground for terrifying stories. Maybe it's the dense forests, the isolated communities, or the way the mist rolls in like a living entity, but whatever it is, Appalachia has a way of creating an atmosphere that's just ripe for horror. You know, when you're out in those dark woods, surrounded by the sounds of the forest, it's easy to start wondering what's lurking just out of sight. It's easy to start feeling like you're being watched, like unblinking eyes are trained on you from the shadows. And it's not just your imagination playing tricks on you. There are some places in Appalachia where the unknown is palpable, where you can feel the weight of history and mystery bearing down on you. I've heard stories about people who ventured into those woods, searching for answers or thrills, and never came back. Some say they were driven mad by the whispers in the darkness, others claim they were dragged away by forces beyond human comprehension. Whatever the truth is, one thing's for sure, those woods have a way of getting under your skin. There's this one place in particular that's whispered about in hushed tones, a place where the fabric of reality seems to be thin, a place where the living and the dead coexist in a twisted dance. They call it Raven's Peak, and it's said that if you listen closely, you can hear the trees whispering secrets to each other. Raven's Peak has a dark history, one that's steeped in blood and terror. They say it was once home to a cult that worshipped ancient deities, performing twisted rituals that awakened forces that should have been left sleeping. The locals will tell you that the place is cursed, that anyone who ventures too close will be consumed by an insatiable hunger for terror. They say that on certain nights, when the moon hangs low in the sky, you can hear the whispers of the cultists, still chanting their dark prayers. Some claim to have seen shadowy figures dancing around the old ritual site, their eyes aglow with an otherworldly energy. Others speak of an ancient tome hidden deep within the woods, a book bound in human skin and written in blood. As you delve deeper into the legends surrounding Raven's Peak, you start to realize that the lines between reality and myth blur. It's hard to distinguish what's truth and what's mere fabrication. But one thing's for sure, the atmosphere around Raven's Peak is palpably heavy, like the air is thick with malevolent energy. One stormy night, a group of friends decided to explore Raven's Peak, to see if the stories were true. They laughed and joked as they made their way deeper into the woods, but as the darkness closed in around them, they started to feel the weight of the unknown. The trees seemed to loom over them, their branches like skeletal fingers reaching out to snatch them into the darkness. It was then that they stumbled upon an old, abandoned shack, its door creaking ominously in the wind. The group hesitated, but their curiosity got the better of them. They pushed open the door, and what they found would haunt them for the rest of their lives. In the center of the room, surrounded by candles and strange artifacts, was the ancient tome. It was bound in human skin, its pages yellowed with age and written in a language that seemed to shift and writhe like a living thing. As they approached the book, they felt an intense, creeping sense of dread. Suddenly, the candles flickered and died, plunging the room into darkness. The group froze, their hearts pounding in their chests. And then, they heard it, a low, rasping voice, whispering secrets in their ears. The voice was ancient, malevolent, and it seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. The group turned to flee, but it was too late. The voice had them in its thrall, drawing them deeper into the heart of madness. They stumbled through the darkness, their screams echoing through the forest, until they vanished into the night, never to be seen again. That's the story of Raven's Peak, a true horror story from Appalachia that'll leave you sleeping with the lights on. It's a reminder that some secrets are better left unspoken, that some mysteries are too great for human comprehension. So, what did you think of this terrifying tale? Have you got a creepy story of your own to share? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more horror storytelling videos that'll send chills down your spine. Thanks for watching. Join me as I dive into the scariest creepypasta horror story from Appalachia and see if I can make it through without getting too freaked out. Today, we will delve into a chilling creepypasta story rooted in the Appalachian region, exploring the eerie folklore that surrounds it. The tale revolves around a mysterious figure known to haunt the woods, instilling fear in the locals and leaving them questioning their safety. This entity is said to be unlike anything you've ever seen before, tall, imposing, and with eyes that seem to pierce right through you. The locals have given it many names, but the most common one is the Woodwalker. According to the legend, the Woodwalker roams the deepest, darkest parts of the Appalachian woods, always lurking just out of sight. Some say it's a harbinger of doom, while others believe it's a malevolent spirit that feeds on fear. One thing's for sure, however, if you cross paths with the Woodwalker, you'll be forever changed. The story goes that if you're unlucky enough to encounter the Woodwalker, you'll be met with an unrelenting gaze that'll freeze your blood. People who have claimed to have seen it say that it's as if time itself stops when the Woodwalker locks eyes with you. They describe it as an intense, crushing fear that's impossible to shake off. Needless to say, the locals avoid those woods at all costs, especially after dark. As the legend has it, the Woodwalker is an ancient entity that's been awakened by some unknown force. Some believe it's a result of the region's rich mining history, where tunnels and shafts were dug deep into the earth, disturbing the natural balance of the environment. Others claim that it's a vengeful spirit of the Cherokee Indians, who were forcibly removed from their lands by European settlers. As we unravel the story, we will explore the history of the area, witness accounts, and the strange occurrences that led to the legend's rise. The Appalachian region has a rich history of folklore and mythology, with tales of ghosts, spirits, and supernatural entities that have been passed down through generations. It's a place where the veil between reality and the supernatural is thin, and where the boundaries between life and death are blurred. The area in question is a remote, rural region deep in the Appalachian Mountains. It's a place of breathtaking beauty, with rolling hills, dense forests, and sparkling streams. However, it's also a place of hardship and poverty, where people have had to rely on the land and their own resourcefulness to survive. The region has a strong sense of community, where people look out for one another and rumors spread like wildfire. Witness accounts of the Woodwalker date back to the early 1900s, with tales of strange noises, unexplained disappearances, and bizarre sightings. Some claim to have seen it lurking around the old mines, while others have reported encountering it on deserted roads late at night. The descriptions of the Woodwalker are eerily consistent, tall, imposing, and with those piercing eyes that seem to bore into your soul. The turning point comes when a brave individual decides to confront the legend, leading to a terrifying encounter that will leave viewers on the edge of their seats. This person, known only as Jake, was a local outdoorsman who had spent his entire life exploring the Appalachian woods. He was always drawn to the unknown, the unexplained, and the supernatural. Jake was determined to get to the bottom of the legend, to prove or disprove its existence once and for all. Jake spent weeks researching the Woodwalker, poring over old records, talking to witnesses, and exploring the woods where the sightings had occurred. He was convinced that he could uncover the truth behind the legend, that he could confront it head-on and emerge victorious. Little did he know, however, that he was playing with fire. The Woodwalker was not something to be trifled with, and Jake was about to find out the hard way. As Jake delved deeper into the mystery, he began to experience strange occurrences himself. He would find odd symbols etched into the trees, hear whispers in the wind, and feel an eerie presence lurking just out of sight. He knew he was getting close, but he had no idea what he was up against. The encounter that was about to unfold would change Jake's life forever, and would leave him questioning his own sanity. The final encounter was a terrifying, heart-pumping experience that left Jake shaken to the core. He doesn't like to talk about it much, but the few details he has shared are enough to send chills down your spine. According to Jake, the Woodwalker is unlike anything you've ever seen before. It's a malevolent force that seems to feed on fear, growing stronger with each passing moment. We've explored a dark chapter of Appalachian folklore, reminding us of the thin line between reality and the supernatural. It's a testament to the power of human imagination, and the depths of fear that lie within us all. If you enjoyed this spine-chilling story, make sure to check out our other videos and share your thoughts in the comments below.